Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to MindShifters Radio with your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie. Michael and Jeanie share with you the wisdom of the ancient Aramaic internal process of forgiveness. They offer tools and support 5 days a week. They will support you in building a solid foundation within yourself to live in pure love. In Aramaic, Rahma. Michael is the author of So Why Is This Happening to Me Again? For more information on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. And now your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael and Jeanie Ryce.
To the brightness within you, and the truth that is rooted within me.
Well, welcome to MindShifters Radio. I'm not sure if Jeanie's having some technical difficulties, but I don't hear her voice, so I hope you can hear mine. And I want to start out by acknowledging Mary Redanti, the young lady who sings that awesome song that we use as our intro and outro. She's a young lady who came to a series of workshops out in Berkeley, California a couple of years ago, and along about the third night after doing the Why Is This Happening to Me Again workshop, came in and said, I've written some music for your work. Can I perform it? Came in on Friday and did that song and then put it together on an album. So the link to her album is on our website. You can actually download the song from our website. The whole thing is very powerful. It was her insight into how she's going to move out of living in the past and to move into functioning as a true human being. And that's our invitation to everybody, is to be part of the team that changed the world. And we put that in the past tense because when you're going to create something, you ought to see the end from the beginning. And so we're just holding the space that we as human beings can wake up in mass. It's time for that to happen. And as we start to truly function out of what we were designed to function out of, we reclaim human life. And our definition for human life is an experiential one. It's not an intellectual one. And that is, when you hold a newborn child, you know exactly what a human being is. And at any moment where you're not functioning out of that awesome presence of love, you don't have a human life. And so the idea is to keep reclaiming it to the point where it's yours, and you refuse, no matter what's happening in your world, to give it up for anything. And in so doing, making a space safe for humans to show up on the earth. And as that happens, we're going to change the whole planetary dynamic. And one of the things we're committed to, in order to honor those who've been forced into the insanity of war, those who've been maimed, mutilated, destroyed, lives, families, the cost involved is enormous. To honor those folks and to honor people who have been involved in that thing that's called service, to bring them home into a peaceful world where human life is really, truly the rule of the day instead of the exception. And the tool for doing that is called forgiveness. That forgiveness process has nothing whatsoever to do with letting other people off the hook because something takes you out of your human life. The tool of forgiveness is the tool with which you go inside yourself and remove the hostilities and fears that can take you out of your human life. So that's where we're heading, to open that space and to find the tools. Pick up our website, www.whyagain.com. And on the right-hand side, it'll actually be .org very soon. We're changing websites over to .org. On the right-hand side of the .com site, you'll find a thing that says Download Worksheets. If you click on that link, the first 7 links will give you the whole story about forgiveness and how to change the dynamics within yourself. So that's where we're heading, and we invite you to be part of that process. We're delighted to be here to support you. I'm actually sitting with a couple of folks who've been at Heartland for the last 17 days, and we're just on our way to the airport. Jeanie, did I hear your voice come in there?
Yes, hi. And Lenore's running the switchboard for us today, so we want to thank her for doing that. And Dr. Tim and David are already both with us, and so
Awesome.
Welcome
well, how are
everybody
you, gentlemen?
to the show.
Are you back home, Dr. Tim?
I'm back home. I'm tired, but healthy, and settling into, I don't know what they call this out here. It isn't the same as Heartland, I'll tell you that. So, but I'm just in awe of what we witnessed in this past 9 days, and I would just like to acknowledge the healing teachers, Julie and Monica and Natalie and Michael C. and a host of others that just put on healing demonstrations the likes of which I've seldom been privileged to see.
And it is a privilege, isn't it?
Absolutely. There aren't really words for it. So if you want to,
well, it was very cool to have you there. We were doing the evaluations, and for you to look at the evaluation scores and be able to confirm that it's impossible for those kinds of changes to take place in a 9 or 17-day period. And of course, we get to see them happen all the time when people step into that intensive space. Because we happen to have the privilege of getting connected to the ancient work of a man named Yeshua, who did understand how the whole thing worked, and in such a powerful way, in such a practical way. A lot of times his work is put kind of into a fantasy realm, and it'll be nice and it'll take care of you, but he calls people out of the insanity of hostility and fear and says there's work to do. And there are many circles in which one is told that they can't do anything, they're just hopeless and helpless. And of course, that's not the teaching that he presented. He gave people the how-to, he gave people the tools, and when they were translated from the original Aramaic into the Greek, pretty much most of it was lost. So it became a nice fantasy story, but in terms of the actual how-to, how do you, when it said love your neighbor as though that's got something to do with your neighbor, which it really doesn't in Aramaic, all that's being said is you go inside your own mind and you clean up your anger, your rage, your grief, your guilt, your pain, your fear around your neighbor, and then you function as a human being toward your neighbor. So that instruction is function as a human being, not, lay down and let your neighbor beat your head in and then call that self-sacrifice and love. It's just a whole different process. And so the tools and the how-to are what is so powerful and such a key. And that's what we're here to share with people. That's what you'll find on our website, folks. And it's certainly a fabulous privilege to be part of that. And I assume that Lenore is on the line too. And Lenore, do you have anything to share from your time at Heartland, having gone back into the wilderness, back into the world?
Back into the world, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can. You're loud and clear.
Oh, great. Yes, re-entry into the world was a different, but I really do see the change in my life after the experiences that I had up in Heartland, and something that I'm carrying forward, and it was wonderful. I want to go back again next year. You there?
Well, you will certainly be welcome back again next year. You were such an awesome contribution to everything that took place, and you are so much appreciated that we will be delighted to have you back next year. That would be fabulous, and we're ready to take things to the next level once again. It seems like there's a new process that's developing out of the work, a new comprehension, a new functionality, and having people like yourself who are willing to continue to support and be part of it is what's uplifting the whole thing. And the idea is to lift high enough that everybody gets to see, there's a different way we could be doing this instead of the old world of hostility and rage and grief and pain and fear, that we could actually forgive, that we could actually remove that hostility, fear, grief, rage, and pain. And it's interesting how many people want to claim their hostility and their fear Yet at the same time, it's like it's their red badge of courage, it's their defense. And it's like, well, but I can't live in the real world without it. And yet in the same breath, they'll acknowledge that everything they've ever touched when they were in hostility or fear, they've destroyed. So it's like, okay, so man, talk about a catch-22 in a state of confusion. It's pretty evident when you see people arguing for their rage, and then when you say, well, now let's see how that's really worked for you. Ever destroy a relationship? What state were you in when you destroyed that relationship? Oh, rage, invariably. So you want to claim it, you want to use it, but it's what you've destroyed things with. Like, hello, isn't it time for us to wake up? So it's definitely an interesting process, isn't it, to be willing to give that kind of energy up and to simply keep coming forward as a true human being is pretty awesome.
It most definitely is.
How is your daughter responding to what you're sharing with her?
Some stuff is coming up in both of us. So we're have the privilege of doing worksheets and getting through that. And
are you doing worksheets together?
Not yet, but that's our next step.
Oh, fabulous! Well, we hope it's
yes.
When you make an abrupt about face and stop playing a game, there's one of the things I like to call is good old family feeling. And when somebody who plays in the good old family feeling, there's someone who's supposed to be the caretaker and someone who's supposed to be the victim and somebody who's supposed to be the black sheep. When you play one of those roles and you step out of that role, you certainly create some challenges for everybody who expects you to keep playing your role. And so it's definitely becomes a different game.
Oh, yes. It does.
And David, do you have anything to share with us today, post-intensive time?
Well, it is.
Are you with us, David?
It is a lot different around here with the energy, with everyone taking this new information and their experiences out into the world. And it's nice to hear Lenore's there getting support and continuously doing her work. As I spoke with her this morning, there's opportunities. And it's nice and quiet around here. There's a calmness. It's very nice stuff. It's letting up right now and getting ready for the next bit of work to do.
Yeah, it's always kind of strange. I know over the years when an intensive finishes, and we've had about 30 people on the property for the last 17 days, and so walking down this morning and the energies of all those folks are having departed. It's quite a different place to be in. Pretty amazing.
Yes, and to add to that, I completed my agreement and a gentle reminder to the folks that the intensive had agreed to do the commitment to their fathers. So I completed mine today. For people that are listening to know what it was and invite the ones that may have put it in a dissociated place to remember your agreement to do that.
Yes, that was a really powerful happening in the intensive. One young man had a major challenge coming up with Dad, who's been difficult to deal with throughout his whole life, and now going from an absent father to one who's there but troubled, and so to take the commitment back home and agree to speak it was just awesome in the intensive to have so many people put their hands up and say, I'll make that commitment. You tell me when you're going to do it, and I'll be in touch with my father and make it. And I know I talked to Michael last night, and he had already made the call, and he just got voicemail, but he left the whole commitment on his dad's voicemail. And his dad's someone who he has had little contact, and most of the contact that there has been pretty hostile over the years. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets any feedback, because Of course, Dad now got it on voicemail and will be able to listen to it over and over if he chooses to. It's pretty powerful to hear a son who calls Dad where there's been all that difficulty and the son picking up the phone and starting off with, "I promise to trust you enough to tell you the truth, be true to you, and treat you lovingly, gently, and with respect." It's pretty powerful. So I'm just pulling into the airport, and Dr. Tim or David or Jeanie or Lenore, if anybody has any thoughts that you'd be open to sharing, I'm going to leave the phone on, but I'm going to leave the call for just a couple of minutes. If somebody would jump in, and I'm going to say goodbye to Beth and Adam as they're getting ready to get on an airplane, and I'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Okay.
So, Dr. Tim, do you have anything to share from what you observed in the intensive? It would be fun for people to get a sense of what that's all about and how it all happens.
Yeah, plenty. And give Beth and Adam our love, and tell them to stay in touch. So we had Michael likes to call it a rocking time. We had a room full of people very willing to get into their stuff, and then we got to see what happens when willingness meets resistance. And one of the key pieces in the forgiveness work is what Michael calls cosmic grease. You have to have plenty of willingness, because when willingness meets resistance, you have to have more willingness than the resistance that your carbon-based memory, your old mind, your family habits, and the culture's conditioning can stir up. And we got to see some fabulous examples. I mean, I've been working with people for 38 years this August, and this was the largest compilation of people meeting tremendous resistance with love and support and willingness in abundance that I've ever seen. And we got to see some shifts in people that, well, you just don't get to see that often. We got to see people look at issues that most people will never share with another soul because they're so ashamed of it. They think they must be the only one that went through something like that. They think they must be the only one that has that level of rage or anger or hurt. They must be the only one who has that level of shame. And we were privileged to witness many people in the past 9 days present issues and work through issues with willingness and love that many people take to the grave with them. And that's not something that has to happen. We have the ability, the tools are available to drop the shame, the guilt, the anger, the hurt, the confusion, the condemnation, the judgment of self and others, which literally takes us to the grave far earlier than we need to go. And I, for one, feel very privileged sitting here today to have been exposed to that loving, willing group of people. And I've gotten, a number of different insights from the presentations of the work that I will use in the future in my presentations, thanks to the creativity that people were willing to share. It was amazing. And one of the things I noticed was almost like throwing a switch. Actually, it was like throwing a switch. When people worked through their issues with willingness and love, like throwing a switch. When they came out of their drama and trauma, their face looked more relaxed, their words were more clear, their creativity came flowing through. And one example that just slapped me in the face was Julie from Ashland, Oregon, who the day after her largest release of the intensive, she spoke with more clarity, her intelligence came through, her creativity was more focused, and she gave us pieces on that last day's sharing, which I'm sure several of us will be using in teaching and taking this work forward. Just one of the many examples of what we got to see, that it lightens and brightens our emotional expression, it lightens and brightens our facial expressions, but it also gives us greater access to our intelligence and creativity when we choose to drop the baggage. So
it was so cool to watch her playfulness come through too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Without
she was
all of
so animated and playful and alive. It was very cool. Maybe Julie from Ashland, Oregon's on the call. Maybe she could tap in and just share how she's doing.
Oh, she's got to be. She's either doing fabulously well or she's in a healing crisis because she moved through so much stuff, and she was one of the many shining examples of how we can transform ourselves by just dropping the garbage. Because what's already in there, the intelligence and creativity, is just bursting to come through if we let it.
Absolutely. You know, a little bit of insight from you, Dr. Tim, would be cool from your experience with the MMPI. We have an adaptation of that called personal code evaluation. And, you know, you looked at a couple of the scores where people started out a month earlier with scores at 15 or 22 on a scale of 100. And in 8 different areas out of 10, move those scores from that 15, 20, 25, 30 up to the 85th percentile and above. Give us a little more insight. I didn't get much of a chance to talk with you about that. I would like to hear more from your experience of it. If someone's really engaging in a good program, what would be a norm in terms of increase in those scores? What would you kind of expect?
Well,
and over what time period?
Well, what I was taught about the MMPI in my graduate program was that this is the most heavily researched and worked and validated test of a personality profile that was in existence at the time. And that it was created in such a way that you simply can't trick it. So that if you try to trick it, or if you try to answer in one way or another, it has measures built in that catch that. So there's a validity scale which... Michael, can you mute your phone?
Oh, certainly. Excuse me.
There's a validity scale that if you're trying to look good, it shows you're trying to look good. If you're trying to look bad, it shows you're trying to look bad. And it's all done with statistics and questions that on the face of them, they don't have anything to do with what they're measuring. The second thing about the test that I was taught is that when you get somebody who's got reasonably valid scores, it paints a picture for you of the unchangeable personality characteristics of this person. So that when you get really high scores on one of those scales, or really low scores on one of those scales, and your validity is in the average range, it means this is a part of your personality and you're stuck with it, and that's how you get a diagnosis, and that's how you start trying to formulate treatment. And what you're doing with treatment is basically just managing the symptoms. You're not really curing anything because, of course, if you've got one of those serious patterns, it's unchangeable. And that's, basically what we were taught, that you can lower the scores a little bit, but if you had schizophrenic tendencies, or if you had depressive tendencies, or if you had obsessive-compulsive tendencies, that basically what you're going to do is just learn to manage it. You can't really change it or fix it. And so to see the dramatic changes in such a short period of time is something that I was taught is simply not possible when I was in my graduate program. And the more advanced people who were really working with the test and studying it, they would take the test every week, and it was, I forget, 360-some questions or something like that. they would take it every week and call each other and report their validity scores and a couple other scores, because those are the things that might fluctuate. But the rest of them, they just knew, because they'd taken it so many times, those scores stayed the same on the basic personality trait. And those were the more progressive people that thought that there were certain aspects that could change over time and that could be used as a barometer for how I'm doing day to day. So I was absolutely floored, ever since I've been introduced to the tool, to see how powerful the results can be in a 9-day intensive or a 5-day intensive, which are the two different intensives I've been to at Heartland. But this particular group, and I believe it has to do with the two factors I talked about earlier, the willingness and the love and support, combined with the willingness. It blew me away. The people who were in such crisis and pain, who turned around and faced whatever it was inside of them that was terrifying them, it was just a huge privilege to be able to witness that. And I'd be interested to see, I have a hard time imagining that having had a breakthrough like that, anybody's going to dive right back into the serious drama and trauma. We can all slip back into it if we don't keep doing the work. But as you reported the scores, Michael, their validity scores were increasing as their positive scores increased. So the gains they made are real, and they're there for them to hold on to if they keep doing the work and apply it in their lives. And it was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well, we had at least 3 people there who had 5 or more out of 10 of their scales that were in what I call crisis, which is below the 30th percentile. And each of those people in each of those crisis areas went up into at least the 60th percentile, and in most cases into the 85 plus range. And it is unusual because that validity score, as you're talking about, the validity score, usually when somebody gets those kinds of changes that are that major, like 8 areas of their lives where they go from 22 to 90, some of the old minds still hanging around, so the validity score tends to drop off. And I think there was only one person in the whole intensive whose validity score dropped off, and it dropped off something like 5 points. And most everybody else, their validity scores were up 20 points, 30 points, 40 points. It's like, that's just, well, as you say, privilege is the word.
Yeah. What I really want to highlight here is that I've been doing different personal growth work and meditation and spiritual growth work for 38 years. And I've run into many, many programs where it's a weekend or a week-long thing, and it's all about, it's carefully constructed to create an emotional high. You know, the things where Tony Robbins gets people and pumps them up and has them do fire walks at the end of it and things like that. And people who do, you know, certain kinds of sweat lodge things, and it's all constructed with ceremony to build the person to this crescendo and leave them feeling really, really good about themselves. And, you know, some people have called it an emotional high, some have called it a peak emotional experience, they've called it, you know, a glimpse at enlightenment, and they work to structure activities and meditations and affirmations that build people to this very high, but I believe very fragile emotional energy peak. And I just want to be really clear that this is not anything like what we did in the last 9 days. There was no false or pumping up with positive affirmations. There was no building to a peak emotional experience, and still the results were off the charts positive. And I believe because of the way it's done, because it's true inner work being done, the results are going to be far longer lasting.
Well, my take on that point, Tim, and that's a good point, is that actually I think in many of those cases those things would be accurately called hypnosis, putting a person into an hypnotic state and a hypnotic high. This is also what happens in a lot of churches. People go around carrying this bag of garbage. They're in pain or turmoil. They go Sunday morning to get a high. Oh, listen to this great music, listen to this, message, but don't do any work. As opposed to what we're looking to do is to support people touching into what's at the root of the drama and trauma. What do you have to do to work through it and let go of it and move back into that true state of human life? And that's where the healing occurs. That's where the shifts and the changes take place, is when you bring that human experience into your deeper state and move into being, move back to how we humans were really, truly designed to function. So it's really the opposite of the feel-good process. It's moving people out of hypnosis. It's, when the masters said transcend, they weren't saying float off in space somewhere. They were saying put an end to the state of trance. You can entrance people into a high and feeling good, but the reason it doesn't last, the reason 6 months later they're back in the pit, is because they haven't done any real inner work. And so to me it's about getting in and doing that deeper inner work and healing whatever it is that holds us out of our true state of being.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And I think that over the years, there have been a variety of these different programs I've gone to, and friends have come to me all elated, and it's fabulous, and this is going to spread love over the planet, and you've got to join this group. And I go and I check them out, and they're pretty much all the same. It's pumping up into trance or hypnosis, as you're saying. It's building people to a peak emotional experience, but it's not giving them solid tools for removing garbage and resolving difficulties in their real-life situations when they come up, and so it doesn't last. And what we went through the last 9 days was pretty much the opposite of that. It was building solid tools. It was live action demonstrations of people meeting some of their deepest, darkest fears with love and willingness and breathing through it and coming out on the other side realizing I didn't have to create all of that. I was creating it, and I can put it down and stop that process. And then watch the beauty and intelligence and creativity and positive energy that comes out on the other side. It's just phenomenal.
So our call-in number, if any of this conversation makes sense or doesn't make sense, or you have a question, or where do I go from here, our call-in number is 646-200-4169, and we would love to answer
there
your question.
There are actually a dozen people on there with their hand up.
Right.
Well, let's pull some in. Let's say hello.
Area code 687, you're on the air.
687, welcome to the show. Who are we talking to? Is this Richard? Hello, 687. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
It's actually 786.
Oh, 786. Sorry.
Area code 786. Can you hear us? You're on the air.
786 is Julio in Miami.
We got Julio in Miami. How was your flight home, sir?
Well, I have to tell you that it was an amazing experience because I didn't get in until a couple of hours ago. I had to sleep at the airport in Tampa last night because I missed my connecting flight. No. There's no need for that, Michael, because it was a fantastic experience at the airport.
Tell us about it. What happened?
Well, the airport was it's a beautiful airport, by the way, and it was rather empty, so the space was perfect with perfect, low music and everything. I was able to do still points on myself last night and keep processing stuff. And I was up all night. I didn't get any sleep, but it was an amazing experience that I'm still, feeling. The love that I'm feeling right now, it's functioning at a cellular level that I'm not accustomed to feeling, obviously. And what I took from this amazing, intensive, well, because I went to 2 intensives in a row, so, I have the benefit of having been there for about 18 days. What I'm taking is amazing information and experience going forward here to deal with my life and do Yeshua's work. I'm very excited and feel totally loving, and I feel everybody like is supporting me right now. Right now, I can feel every person with their hands on me.
That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Was there any one experience you'd like to share, or any questions that have developed?
Michael, I would rather, let other people speak as well right now.
Okay.
I just have to say that and tell everybody that I love them and I'm feeling them at this moment.
All
and
right.
I'm very
Thanks for the
grateful
call.
to be back in Miami. Yes.
Okay, we appreciate you. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So give us another caller.
Okay, we have caller 541. You're on the air.
Sounds
hi.
like vocal the tone.
Okay, guess who this is?
Who is this?
This is Julie from Ashland, Oregon.
Oh, Julie from Ashland, Oregon. We
Don't
haven't
you
talked
know
about
my-
you for at least 3 minutes.
You must know my area code by now. So, wow, that was amazing to hear what Dr. Tim said. I really appreciate that acknowledgement. It's real weird. I don't notice my own growth, because I'm just always in the next level. I hear a lot of noise, by the way.
Okay, I'll mute mine. It's probably me because I'm on the road.
Yeah, I'll just go. I was making some notes, and I'll just go ahead and kind of go through what I was going to say. But, I feel like I'm a love sprout, that I can just keep sprouting love and thrive on it. And I don't know where I got that from, except I know my diet has changed. And I want to really acknowledge Michael and Jeanie and everyone who has put this whole thing together for the environment that they've created for us that allows us to just blossom. Once we do our clearing work, there's an arena for the love to just express fully, and you don't really get that much in the world. We're cut off often because it's so threatening to have that much power. And so to be in an environment where we're empowered to feel that and express that was just so wonderful. And a large part of it is knowing the difference or recognizing through this experience of what it is to shed the story of our lives and how much energy it takes, the price that we pay to keep it going. And I was even able to see how and where I store it in my body and breathe in the processes and really release a lot. And I got such a good experience of it that I just know it works, and I know how to continue to use that tool in my life. The other thing I loved about our group work was just as a group, we were just, I think the word is holographic. We formed such a cohesiveness that everybody's growth just added to the next person's, and we gathered more courage, more clarity, and we became so comfortable in really experiencing our full human being self, and we were just expressing energetically moment by moment, and anything that came up if it did, was something that could be easily resolved. So we all became, aware of how our beings work when something maybe a little dissonant comes up and we have a tendency to be aggravated in some way. We just go to another person, a partner or someone, and we ask for support in processing through it and get back to our human being. And it just opened up such a wide potential for us to step into and design our lives. So it was so empowering, and I just really have to acknowledge Michael for his commitment to every detail for our well-being. The diet that we were on was abundant and top quality raw food, nutritious, and it was engineered. He has such an awareness to engineer the food as part of our process so that we keep clearing and our cells keep opening to more and more nutrition, and we get the right kind of energy balancing ourselves for the processing work that we're doing. It's an incredible intensive. I highly recommend it to everyone in the world. There, I'm done. I've said it.
Cool. Well, one of the things I really appreciated, Julie, especially right toward the end, when you gave that musical explanation of, coming from a whole different language of how energy systems want to resolve, and that example that you used, the way you explained that was just fabulous. And if there's any possibility of you writing that up, I would love to put it on the website, of course, with the reference to you and credit to you, because I think that just really gave another language to understand it. It's so cool.
Oh, good, Michael. I would love to do something like that.
Yeah, that whole thing of, it wants to resolve, and then you use that just so simple but powerful explanation by just going, well, what happens when I go do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti? What happens? Oh, you want to resolve. I mean, it was just such a graphic example, and the natural thing for us as human beings is to take our dissonance and move into resolution. That's the natural thing, and of course our culture tends to keep pounding in with such dissonance that the resolution, sadly, there isn't the space for it usually, for that resolution to occur. And it's the most natural thing going, and you just put that together in such a fabulous way. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really nice at the end. It really brought it succinct, in a way everyone can understand. I know it was. See, and that was just an example of the cohesive whole that group was, because we just kept lifting each other to the next level, and we were all on track with it. It was like one being doing this work and the many aspects of it.
Yes, exactly.
So,
very true.
So
well, thank you for your part in it. It was a delight to have you there, and we'll be in touch.
Yes, we will. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Blessings. Bye-bye. So do we have another area code popping in? Lenore, do you have another area code to open the lines to? Lenore? Can you hear me, Lenore?
Can you hear me?
Are we connected?
Can you hear me?
There you go. I've got you now.
910. They're on the air.
910. You're on the air. Tell us where you're calling
Hey,
from.
Michael. This is Susan from North Carolina.
Well, hey there, Susan, the wedding lady from North Carolina. 3 ceremonies we had in this last 9 days. It was fabulous.
I think it was absolutely beautiful. I was honored. And I just want to say, and I have said this to many of my friends on the way home, that the work that you do is absolutely amazing. That's the only word I can say. As from the time I walked in the door, it was like a tailor-made intensive just for me, and I think everyone that was there had the same experience. What came up was exactly what needed to come up and clear, and how we worked together as a group. What one person was working on was clear, and the people in the room that had the same issues. I know for myself that was true. And it was a miracle all the way around. And the food and the vitality of my body, my mind, and my spirit as I drive home today, and I'm still driving, it's just amazing. I don't want to lose that. I went straight to the health food store in Mountain Home and got fresh fruits and vegetables, and then this morning I headed out to get organic juice, and I packed my cooler full of that so that I would have just to keep my vitality strong and up until I got home, and then I could go with my juicing and on from there. But I'm just so grateful that Heartland exists, and I put a bug in the ear of a friend of mine back in Wilmington. He does remodeling and construction kind of work, and I said, I think maybe you could do a work study. So I'm trying to get people out there so that you can have the help you need to further the mission that you have. And I just honor you and Jeanie for the dedication that you have and the commitment to doing this work, and how you have persevered through the years and not lost your passion. And I'm just grateful to have been there with you, and I hope to carry it back where I'm going and do as much as I can the same.
Well, that's cool. Thank you for that support. We would be wonderful to have one or two finished-type carpenters, or there's some things that have been roughly completed with renovations and such. It'd be nice to have somebody who's out there who had the vision and the hands to carry out the detailing and the completion and, the making it beautiful kind of thing. That would be really fabulous for somebody to want to come and play and do that aspect of it. So we appreciate that support. And just in the way, one of the things for those who are on the show that we talk about in the intensives, and particularly in Laws of Living, but we covered a fair bit of it in this last 17 days, was a thing we call regulatory speech, and that one of the things that what we call the non-being mind always focuses on, of course, is what it doesn't want. And so I just invite you to look back at the words you used about vitality and how your focus was about what you didn't want, and that you might want to just, it's part of the retraining of the mind to go to, as opposed to I didn't want to lose my vitality level. It's like I'm doing what I need to do to maintain my vitality level. And it just clears out another little wrinkle in the mind that can end up creating challenges. So
absolutely, Michael. That is my work. As I was talking to a really good friend of mine last night, and I corrected the way I wanted to, and she said, "Oh my goodness, you're talking different." And I'm like, "Are you kidding?" I'm thinking every time I opened my mouth, I had to watch what I was saying, and it's a great thing because I have a lot to learn in that aspect of it, and I do want to speak in affirming ways for myself and everyone around me. So I'm very grateful, and that you are helping me, along with a lot of other friends that I have made. So I'm going to continue to call and get this help. Thank you.
Delighted, and for sure, you go back to the man who originated the work and his level of understanding, and he literally says the power of life and death is in our words, because of course words represent frequencies, and frequencies are what either lift us up or drag us down. And so it is fun to have a team of people who can keep us on track when we lose awareness of our language and slide in unconsciously to a place where we'd rather not be. So glad to be on your team, and glad to have you on ours. That's fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, blessings. Take care. So, Lenore, do we have another area code to tap into? Another caller?
Yes, we do. Area code 352. You're on.
Okay, 352, back to Florida.
Hey, this is Mary Lou at Heartland, if you're talking to me.
We got you, Mary Lou at Heartland. How is the young lady doing?
I am having such a wonderful experience of reliving the energy of Heartland and the friends and the family members who've been part of my experience for the last 27 days. And before then, my dear friend Lenore, who's dealing with what she's doing to make sure that we're able to talk to each other. It's like, whoa, we are family.
Yes. It is. And, I love how Richard Bach says it in his book Illusions. He says your real family will know you better on first meeting than your blood family will know you in forever.
That really touches my heart, and talks about the reason I wanted to get in on the call was the conversation you were having with Dr. Tim about the community that we were creating. That, you know, I do a lot of work in community and trying to build up a positive experience for people to step into, and, you know, that trance of that positive energy that's created in church services and retreats, and it really is designed to pull people into a higher, deeper place. And that experience for me was I now see how much time and effort I put into making things happen instead of letting things unfold through a process that helps us to get honest with what's going on for ourselves, helps me to get in touch with what I'm feeling, helps me to look at my thoughts in a way that I stop telling lies about what I'm thinking and what I'm experiencing, and allows me to go deeper into a sense of community, because there's this level of acceptance that I don't feel and I don't experience when I'm doing all the energy to make this spell of authentic community happen. And so I was just really amazed that you guys were talking about what I had been thinking about. It was like, wow, it just kind of happened. And yet I know that, as Julie from Oregon was talking about, you know, we don't get to this level of vitality through our standard American diet. That it's about the food we're eating and the water we're drinking and the place we are in alignment with, and the pace of what our days are involved in, and, you know, that I'm not every 10 minutes looking at the email trying to figure out who I need to talk to next or what rumor I need to spread. So it was like, oh, this is a very intentional community building that I've truly enjoyed, and I feel very inspired this morning as I'm recognizing that the energy has let the breath out for a moment, and I'm sure it will build back in. I'm just really enjoying the moment. So thanks.
Well, we are delighted to have you as part of our team, and you know, as long as you're there, I know that there are some doors opening up for you, and we support you going through whichever doors are appropriate. I love the whole idea of the online community building. I look forward to, now that things are settling down, that before we leave, that we can have some conversation about what that might look like and what the possibilities would be there, and then whatever serves your highest and best purposes, that moves forward to the next level, and all things move forward.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those conversations too, because I don't know what the future holds for me, except that I'm very interested in being alive in it, and to be building that vitality of my spiritual body and using my time, talents, and creativity toward living in a consciousness that supports that and then draws it out to others. So I don't know what that means. I just know that I'm being present to the whole of what's going on.
Cool. Well, that's I think one of the best postures we could possibly take, and you know, over the years as I've done this work, I mean, the limit in terms of who needs the tools for healing is probably only about, you know, the ceiling of about 7.5 billion people right now, and there's always been a space for someone who has a skill, who says, okay, I'm ready to create this aspect of it. I'm ready to pick up the ball and run forward with it and create an economy that works and supports me and supports the work and moves it forward. So if that's how it's going to unfold, and that will be just right on track. And who knows what the future holds. I do know that ultimately what we're looking to do is to make this available to every mind, heart, and being on the planet. That's one of the reasons why we do this radio show every day. That's one of the reasons why we travel the way we travel, and our commitment is to take it globally. So it'll be fun to see just where that conversation goes and how it will support you and how it will support us, and if that's going to be the appropriate direction.
Yes, I'm thrilled to be at that place, and when other opportunities opening up, I'm just kind of looking in and seeing what I really do want to experience and want to share and want to invest my energy in, and so that's my joy. So I look forward to hearing more messages from our friends as they go back home and carry this Heartland experience with them, and I look forward to finding ways that we can do that together where we're all living.
Cool. Fabulous. All right, well, let's see if Lenore has another caller for us.
I do have a couple more callers. The first one is 970. You're on the air.
Hey, everybody. It's Carrie in Colorado.
Hi, Carrie in Colorado.
Hi. All the conversation today has just been wonderful and so great to hear all of it. And everybody, I'm so impressed at how Julie from Ashland, how articulate she is about the details. It's really neat. And good to hear Julio's voice and everybody. It's just so wonderful. I just wanted to share really quick. I have had such amazing experiences since I've been back from the intensive, and of these continuing to go into this, Michael, what you call process point. And I watch the DVDs or I do worksheets, and I kind of go in and out. The conscious mind sort of goes out part of the time. And when I come to and I'm awake, I can feel the whole back part of my brain kind of rewiring itself. It feels like there's like a psychic surgeon in there or something moving the neurons around. And I have such a sense of well-being, more so than I have ever felt in my entire life. And I know that the neuropeptides kind of responding out of love rather than other false energies of fear, hostility, etc. And I know it's like all of a sudden getting the key goes to the spot and having the vitality to process it. And I've probably got 4 or 5 groups of people who are doing this work along with me, and it's so exciting. They're all just kind of catching on. One of them wrote a whole, like she took notes on everything that I told her about when I came back, and then she had one of her housemates, she had her, last night she said, she had her writing down what Ruka Bikusha and Rakma were, and finally that woman said, I can't stay awake. I'm just going out, trying to write this stuff. And what's really fun is a lot of these people that I'm working with that are kind of starting to experience your work through, watching the DVDs, reading your book, doing worksheets, they're kind of accessing that point too, and it's so much fun and it's so exciting.
Cool.
And I will say about all the years that I have done workshops and personal development things, I feel like I've been preparing for now, and this was where I was dreaming of getting to all these years, and I'm so glad I have had the experiences I have that have expanded my sense of possibility so that I could take this in when it showed up.
Well, that's fabulous, and we're down to just a few seconds now, so we're going to have to kind of close out the show. Okay. And maybe if you have a question or another thought for us, we can tap in again tomorrow. Everybody, bring a stranger with you tomorrow, introduce the work to somebody, pass on the tools, and have the best year yet of your eternal life. Take care. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to MindShifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie, who present the internal Aramaic process of forgiveness. Michael and Jeanie are here every Monday through Friday on Earth Angels Radio. For more on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. That's www.whyagain.com.
Across Tennessee, businesses thrive on strength, resilience, and leadership. No one embodies these qualities better than veterans. They've served our country with honor and are ready to serve your business with the same commitment. Now you can go from veteran-friendly to veteran-ready with the Tennessee Veteran-Ready Business Recognition Program. Becoming a veteran-ready business will increase your ability to recruit, hire, and retain service members, veterans, and their families. Learn more at tn.gov/veteran from the Tennessee Department of Veterans Services.
Hey everyone, it is Ryan Seacrest here. Ready to heat up your summer vacation? Get ready, things are about to get sizzling at Chumba Casino. Your summer getting a whole lot hotter with a special daily login bonus waiting just for you. So sign up now for reels of fun and reels of prizes right here at Chumba Casino with yours truly. Join me at ChumbaCasino.com and dive into a summer of social casino fun.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.